regular. This is the Pennington Borough Council regular meeting for March 7, 2022. Call to order. Mrs. Sterling, can you call the roll call, please?
Ms. Angarone?
Present.
Mrs. Chandler?
Yes.
Ms. Nat? She's there. Mr. Gross?
Here.
Mr. Marchanti?
Yep.
Ms. Stern?
Here.
Mayor Davy?
Here. Notice of this meeting has been given to the Hopewell Valley News, Trenton Times, and was posted on the bulletin board at Borough Hall at 30 North Main Street and on the Borough website according to the regulations of the Open Public Meetings Act. If I may, at this moment, at this time, I'd like to sort of exert some mayoral prerogative, if you don't mind, and ask everyone to just take a moment of silence for the people of Ukraine as a show of solidarity with them. Okay, thank you, everyone. Thanks for doing that. Mayor's business. The first thing on the agenda is we want to take this opportunity to recognize the contribution that Eileen Heinzel has made to the Pennington community, both as a citizen, as a member of the community, as a community volunteer, and most importantly, as borough administrator. And so, Betty, can you bring Eileen in?
Yep. Oh. She's going to come in as a panelist because they're using an older version.
Okay. Is that Paul?
Yeah.
Hello. We can't hear you.
I was just unmuted.
There you go. Welcome, Eileen.
Paul and myself, so.
So I am.
Who's
if you
coming
don't-
here? Ship here.
So if you don't mind, I'm gonna begin this with a proclamation of the mayor and council recognizing and honoring Eileen Heinzel. Whereas Eileen Heinzel has been an invaluable member of the Pennington Borough community and municipal government, and whereas Eileen has served the Pennington Borough municipal government first as a member of council and then as borough administrator, and whereas Eileen has provided extraordinary professional guidance and expertise in leading the Pennington Borough municipal government to many significant accomplishments, and such as, and these are just to name a few, bear with me because there's a lot. One, effecting improvements to the management of the borough's water utility with the implementation of remote radio read meters. Two, implementation of the borough's new automated trash collection program. Three, restructuring the chain of command structure for the Public Works Department. Four, instituting the borough's tree grant management program, which contributes to Pennington's recognition as a Tree City USA community. Five, supporting the Hopewell Valley Green Team's success in receiving sustainable New Jersey bronze status recognition. Six, negotiating the PSC&G agreement for a solar field at the Public Works site. Seven, overseeing the completion of the Borough Hall renovations project. Eight, securing funding through the New Jersey Green Acres program for acquisition of property surrounding the African American Cemetery, as well as the purchase of the Arboretum behind the Tollgate School. Nine, supporting the Pennington Police Department and its officers. 10, promoting police department renovations and facilitating the purchase of the department's first hybrid police vehicle. 11, assisting the transition of the department to personnel complement of 6 officers and the shift from a police director to police chief. And 12, leading the development of the Pennington Library's first strategic plan, which was developed with community participation. Now therefore be it resolved, now therefore be it proclaimed that the mayor and borough council of the borough of Pennington, on behalf of its citizens, does hereby recognize Eileen Heinzel for her caring, compassionate, dedicated, faithful, and professional years of service to Pennington Borough government and community. Be it further proclaimed that the mayor and borough council shall hereby dedicate the first tree planted in the borough's new arboretum in Eileen Heinzel's honor for her extraordinary service to Pennington Borough. Ordered on March 7, 2022, by order of the Office of Mayor James M. Davey.
Thank you very much. I'm a little drawn to tears.
Well-
Regarding Arboretum.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely.
I've enjoyed every minute I've worked in this town, so to be honored means a lot. It means a lot to me. So thank you, everyone.
No, it's our time to say thank you to you. And so we have a number of people who would like to say a few words to you. And so the first person that we'd like to bring into the meeting is New Jersey Health Commissioner Judy Persicelli.
Oh,
Give me a sec. I got a long list to scroll through.
Can you hear me?
We sure can.
Hi, Eileen. Hi, Jim.
how are you?
I'm good. Thanks so much for this opportunity. You know, when Jim reached out to me to ask me to say a few words tonight, the first thought that came to my mind was, wow, I get to talk to Tony's work wife, the woman who really needs no introduction, that other woman in his life. And of course, the second thought was, what would Tony want me to say? I do not know if anybody can see, I don't think you can. I was holding up a picture of Lawver, Eileen and Tony from the first campaign that they ran. Tony has this displayed on our bookcase at home, and of course, I still display it. It's a beautiful picture of the three of you. Well, it's definitely a beautiful picture of Eileen, let me put it that way. No offense, Joe. So Eileen, I think you will agree that Tony was not the best door-to-door campaigner. I remember the first time he went out on a Sunday afternoon and said, I'm meeting Eileen and Joe, we're gonna knock on doors. It was actually a very humid day. So Tony came back like in an hour. Now, Eileen, you know, Tony had some health issues. And I'm a nurse, so of course I panicked. I said, oh my God, it's so humid out. Are you okay? You're back so soon. What's going on? Are you okay? He goes, I'm fine. I said, well, what are you doing back? He said, oh, the Giants are on. I said, what? He said, the Giants are on. He said, do you think I was gonna miss the game? I said, well, what's knocking on doors? He said, Eileen will handle it. I can't tell you, Eileen, how many times he said, Eileen will handle it. So Eileen, starting way back then, I think Tony would want me to say, he always depended on you. I recall when you were talking about taking the administrator's position and how excited he was that you would consider it and how elated he was every single day he came home from the office. In his mind, you completed the best team a mayor could have wished for. And yes, Betty, you were part of that team. So I'm not sure you realize that in some respects, Tony lived a little vicariously, by the way, through your family. You know, we didn't have any children. So I heard almost every day what was going on with your family, how the kids were doing, what Paul was up to, what schools the kids applied to. I think I could actually even recall them all and where they were accepted. And he would go on and on and on. That is just to let you know, Eileen, that you were one of his most favorite people. And when Tony liked and respected someone, you could do no wrong. So back to what Tony would want me to say. First, he would want me to thank you for all the help that you gave him each and every day and your service to the borough of Pennington. You are a good and faithful servant, he would say. He would want you to know that getting to know you was the highlight of not only his time in public service, but actually his time in Pennington. He would definitely want me to say that all you have done, your greatest accomplishment, however, are your children. Be proud. And he definitely would want you to know that he knows that the cross that you have to bear is heavy and the journey you are on is difficult. But when you are ready, you can gently put that cross down, and like him, you will find peace. I am sure that that is what he would want me to say. God bless you, Eileen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Our next person who would like to talk to you, Eileen, is New Jersey State Treasurer Liz Moyo.
Oh, geez. If Liz could raise her hand, that would put her to the top of my list and I could find her. There we go.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great, thanks. Hi, everybody. Hi, Eileen and Paul. I've been fortunate to know and share experiences with Eileen on both a professional level and a personal level. We share a love of family and politics and government service. We both served in elected office and most recently on the administrative side of government. We're both lawyers and we're both married to prosecutors. We moved into our house on Voorhees Avenue in 1995, and the Heinzels moved around the corner on Hale the next year. So for over 25 years, we've been able to stand in our backyards and see, and probably often hear, each other's houses. Eileen was a terrific and dedicated member of council. She was always calm with that quiet smile, which is not always easy to keep when dealing with small town politics. Always smart, always well prepared and well informed. So I was surprised when she told me 8 years ago that she was considering giving up her council seat to take the position of borough administrator. But she said she had served on council for 9 years and was ready to make a change. And this position was the perfect blend for the two passions of her life. The first being her love of town and community. And the second, and this is the love that pales, everything else pales in comparison to, is her love for her family. This was a job, she said to me, that she would not only enjoy doing, but that would allow her to be here in town with her kids as they continue to grow and thrive. And it really doesn't get any better than that. So I want to thank for the opportunity to be here and speak today. I know there are many people that would love to have this opportunity to thank you, Eileen, but I want to thank you for making that decision so many years ago, because the legacy that has resulted has really been twofold. Not only has every corner of our beloved hometown benefited from your dedication and hard work over the years on our behalf, but for those of us who have also been privileged to watch the wonderful family you and Paul have raised and to see the incredible adults that Eric, Julia, Jack, and Kristen have become, I know that they too are going to use those gifts that you helped nurture and make the world a better place. So thank you, Eileen.
Well,
Thank you, Liz. Our next person who would like to talk is Weed Tucker, former council member Weed Tucker.
Jack, don't destroy all that stuff. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate that. Hello, great leader. This is what I dubbed Eileen Heinzel because of her great leadership during the Pennington Democratic Committee, heading that committee, and the election of Democrats to Borough Hall, often in uphill elections. Seeing her efforts, it's easy to see that this is a proper designation for her, even if it's only from Weed Tucker. I appreciate Mayor Davey asking me to say a few words about Eileen. I'm happy to join in thanking Eileen for her service in many, many, many ways. A BS in economics and political science, Montclair State University, a JD jurisdiction, the Rutgers School of Law, married a fellow attorney, Paul Heinzel, and moved to Hale Street in Pennington in 1996 and raised 4 wonderful children, Eric, Julia, and twins, Jack and Kristen. She served her church, St. James, very, very well, in many ways, certainly as a catechist. Public service called, and Elaine was elected to Borough Council in 2004, and serving until 2014, when she became part-time borough administrator. Among her many achievements on council, too many to list here, and that proclamation, a wonderful proclamation, has already covered more than I could possibly say at this time, was to initiate a biannual council planning workshop to develop long-range strategic planning and develop a grant for Pennington Library improvements. When the opportunity arose, I was eager to recommend and certainly join in recommending and supporting Eileen as borough administrator because of her unique experience as a lawyer, legislator, and administrator. It is a part-time job, but Eileen has gone above and beyond in her duties and certainly her camaraderie. She is a treasured asset on the talented and dedicated team of folks, professional and volunteer, instrumental in the governing of our Pennington community, which is a wonderful town because of her contributions. Also because Eileen has done so much for so many, so often. We've been blessed to have her on our team. And for all of the reasons, I'm honored to express the heartfelt gratitude and thanks of a grateful community and council for all of her service. Eileen, thanks so much. And Paul, have a good time. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Weed. Our next person to ask for some time with Eileen is Joe Lover, former mayor of Pennington.
Thank you, Mayor Davies. And hello, Eileen and Paul. It's great to see you. I always love following Weed Tucker because he summarizes the history, so I don't have to go through and remember dates and specific events. But Eileen, you were the person that first got me involved in Pennington. We moved here in 2002. And, so at first I met you as a neighbor and we watched our little kids play together. And then you got me involved in the library and then eventually council. So it's, I guess, you're to blame. If anyone's mad at what I did for Pennington, you're to blame. So not only I'm here representing myself, but also the library. You've been involved with the library for countless hours, primarily as a member of their board, representing Tony for so many years, but also a regular volunteer at the front desk. And the thing that kind of brought me into it is you started the summer reading program. And this goes back to 2004, 2005. And it was Eileen, Joy Clarkson, and myself, and we put together this summer program where we really didn't know what we were doing, but we had 75 kids show up at the library, and we found creative ways, mostly thanks to Eileen, to keep them entertained and engaged. And there's nothing more glamorous than us outside in 97-degree heat, 90-degree humidity, chasing after 75 kids, trying to keep them engaged for an hour and a half. But you did it with great equanimity and you just had this calm sense about you that it would all work out in the end. And I treasure those times, and I bring them up because I think that to me characterizes Eileen. Commitment to family above all. It was great. We did it because our kids were young, but then as we continue to do it, we engaged our kids as the leaders. And so they were leading the program. So that was fun. But it was just it's that behind the scenes, what can I do? Who can I get involved? And how can we make this a better place? And that's what drove you every day. And it's been just a great honor working with you on all of these projects. So thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Joe. Next is former council person Liz Semple.
Eileen, I wanted to come on and just say thank you. I was surprised when I got on council how hectic it could be and how everyone's personality came to bloom on some of the meetings that we were on. And you were so professional, so calm, so patient, and you held us all together. From reminding me, hey, Liz, it's a meeting, come on, get on, to so I just wanted to say thank you for everything you did for me to make my time on council productive, and for everything you've done for the community.
Thank you, Liz. Our next person to speak is former council member Glenn Griffiths. I think.
I'm not seeing him in the list.
Glenn, are you there? Can you raise your hand? Margaret Estevez. Do you see that, Betty?
I do. You think that's Glenn?
Yeah.
Also going to be a panelist because they're using a older Zoom.
Hi, Glenn. You can unmute yourself to the bottom. There you go.
Forgot.
Glenn, do you forget how to do this? Bottom left, unmute yourself.
There it goes.
There we go. How's that?
There you go.
He is here. Eileen, the thing I treasured about you the most was your sense of humor. We had a lot of discussions in the office, and the one way that I would cope with some of the difficulties we faced was to put them into humor. And you would always laugh at my jokes, which were never that good. So I appreciate your stroking my ego with that. So in keeping with sense of humor, people have heaped praise on you and said all the things that are true, and I respect all of them. I think I'll take my turn and air some grievances. People have said how calm you are, and so true. My grievance is I could never get under your skin. I mean, I could get under Chico's skin in about 5 seconds. I also want to tell you how smart you are, and subtly, as opposed to me who would blab and blare and go on and on. But I found your intelligence so terribly threatening, I couldn't really handle it. Lastly, you're a beautiful person, which makes me terribly jealous, mostly of Paul. You're beautiful in your mind, and you're beautiful in your heart, you're beautiful in your soul. And these are the things that I truly, truly remember. And you have kind of monumental sense of beauty that warrants, I think, Jim, more than a planting of a tree, but maybe a whole forest. You have that kind of beauty in your heart. And lastly, I just want to say, in our lives, we all face adversities we think are daunting. And you've shown us how trivial and inconsequential they really are. You become a model for how we should live our lives each and every day, holding our heads high as you hold yours, inspiring us to soar above our hurdles rather than wondering why they're put in our path. It's important for that reason that you know, and we want to say it to you with humility and awe. We wish we had your strength and hope and the gentle kindness you've shown to the world around you. We don't understand why you're dealing with these challenges and not us. We would wish them upon ourselves if it would lessen your suffering, your pain. It's a choice we have no power to make happen. And so we have to accept what you're going through. And we all have different concepts of the infinite or spiritual powers, whether it's simple as the sea against the shore, or the complexity of the stars in the universe. But in my mind, simply said, the infinite power rests in our need for each other, as our love is the most powerful force in our lives. We love you, you give us strength, and we offer you ours. You're a wonderful person, and Paul, you were lucky to find her. That's all I can say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Glenn. Thank you. Next is former council member Tom Ogren. Tom? Can you unmute yourself, Tom? There you go.
Am I on now?
Yes, you are.
Okay, good. I just, oh, I just lost my camera. Okay. Hi, Eileen.
Hey, Tom.
I never thought I would be attending another council meeting with you, but here I am 8 years later. Better late than never. After listening to all the eloquent, high praise for you, all I can say is it was obvious to me that you didn't need to consider going back to graduate school for a degree in public administration. You were certainly well qualified. And I was so happy that the council, after I left, appointed you as administrator. As I recall, council meetings were not that much fun, especially sitting next to Glenn. But I think that we did have some fun getting away from Borough Hall on a couple outings. One time we went to the Justice Complex in Trenton, heard oral arguments on the Presbyterian Homes case before the appellate division. The other trip we made out of town was to Princeton. And I recall we had lunch with the landscape architect, who I think was the person who came up with the idea of putting bollards on North Main Street as part of the streetscape project that we worked on together. And that, by the way, was one of the more interesting experiences I had working with you and Dina Dunn on the council. I think that project turned out well. So I'm glad that we got a chance a few years ago to have lunch together at Emily's. You brought me up to date on all things Pennington. And I remember you asking me if I missed Pennington. I said, yes, I did. What I didn't say then, and I will say now, I also missed you.
Oh.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom. Our next speaker is, well, he wasn't a member of council. He was our police director, but I think he often thought of himself as a council member. So Bill Matrot.
One sec.
Thank you, Mayor, I think. Hi, Eileen. It's really good to see you again.
Hey, Bill.
I know there are a lot of people here who are speaking tonight. So I'll keep my my remarks a little brief, which is very difficult for me, but here we go. You know, I retired 2 years ago and permanently relocated to Somerset County. And because of that, and of course the COVID situation, I really haven't been back to Pennington much. The Borough Hall was closed, so I didn't get in to see anyone hardly at all most of the time. But what I want you to know is that after I spent 50 years doing this kind of work, everyone I knew asked me, do you miss it? And Tom sort of stole my line there because my answer always was, well, you know, every once in a while I do miss it, but actually what I really miss is the interaction with the people that I work with. I can't count the hours that you and I spent speaking in person, sometime till 7 o'clock on Friday nights, with each other about not only borough issues, some of which quite frankly were quite important, but just plain talk about what restaurants were good, how the family was doing, what your kids and Paul are involved in, Annapolis, Philadelphia, the school system, policing, Donald Trump, and my admonition to you that he'll never run for president, politics, and, you know, a whole host of other subjects that people just talk with their co-workers and friends about. And, you know, with you, nothing was off limits. And I could tell that you really cared about our conversations. You're a great listener. From a work standpoint, you know, I remember mostly how you and I were able to discuss all the issues and work through them. And although we didn't agree on every situation, we always talked it out and came to a workable conclusion. Never did you say, well, I'm the boss and that's the way it is. And actually, we had somebody here say that one time, but nevertheless, you did not. You always tried to mitigate any issues, and you made my job much more pleasant and with much less stress. And your loyalty to the borough was unquestioned. But more importantly to me, you know, I came to work looking forward to working with you and interacting with you because frankly, I just enjoyed it. And that's what I miss most about my retirement. I'm very happy that not only you were the boss, but a good communicator and a damn good friend. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Thank you. Next is Walter Bliss.
Thank you, Mayor. Eileen, I speak as somebody in part who works for the borough. And I've worked for you, and it's been a great privilege to do so. But you've been an extraordinary administrator, an extraordinary leader, and it's made my life very pleasant and made the Pennington experience a great one. If I had to think of a single word, if I were required to think of a single word that describes you in my mind, frankly, it's reflected in so much of what has already been said, it would be kind. You are a kind person, and your kindness and respectfulness makes you a strong leader. Together with all the other things you've done for the borough, it is that which I appreciate most. And I thank you for that. And I know I thank you for that on behalf of many who perhaps aren't speaking tonight, but have had dealings with you. Best.
Thanks, Walter. Next is from our borough engineer, Don Fetzer.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. It's an honor to be allowed to speak tonight. B&H has been honored as Walter said, to work for the borough and be a part of borough life since 2000. We've served as a borough engineer and the water sewer engineer since that time. And many times we've served in both for the past 22 years. I've known Eileen since she joined Borough Council in 2004 and later as the administrator. When she first joined in the 2000s and we spoke to each other, we often chatted about what it's like to be a council person, having just been named to the council in my town as well. And we talked about and shared an awful lot of common stories, and it was very moving actually to see that the similarity between towns, they're always there. And I'll always be able to Eileen has always been able to take the time to listen and to discuss, and she would challenge. And at the same time, she was always aiming for the best of Pennington and as a community, while at the same time able to balance and understand individual perspectives. It's a true character trait that is hard to find. I consider myself fortunate to have shared with what has become the best for Pennington. Over her past 18 years, Eileen, I thank you. The water utility, the Green Acres, the Arboretum, clearly dear to your heart. And I thank you for giving to the town you love, and know that we also love you. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Next is our bond counsel, Ed McManaman.
Can you guys hear me?
You sure can.
Finally. First of all, I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you, Eileen. My involvement with the borough is less significant than virtually all of the people who have spoken on your behalf. I've lived in the borough almost 50 years, and I appreciate the fact that when you go to work, you ride up Lanning Avenue, where I live, and beep your horn. I've been privileged over the past 50 years of practicing law to represent many, over 100 local governments, school districts, and others, and have come in contact with mayors and council and administrators and finance officers and clerks. And for me, having you serve in the capacity you served in the town where I live is pretty special for me. You have a security about you, and you're comfortable in your job, and you're obviously smart. And so when these issues come up and we have to chat about them, you come across in a way that's better than virtually everybody I interact with, because you seem to care in a way that's different and special. So I, on behalf of my firm and me and my wife and my family and the people in Pennington, I just want to say thank you for the way you go about your job and the way you treat all of us in a very special way. Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. And next is Planning Board Chairman Jim Riley.
Can you hear me, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, we can.
Oh, I was muted here. I have served on the Joint Planning and Zoning Board with Eileen in her capacity as both a member of the board and as acting board secretary. While it is a gross understatement, I would like to say that she has been a very valuable contributor to the work of the board. Eileen has a remarkable ability to analyze issues and make cogent suggestions. She has often facilitated resolution of complicated or contentious matters. And particularly helpful, she always seems to be available. I once told her that she was the only 24/7 part-timer that I had ever personally encountered. It has been a great pleasure to work with such a pleasant and capable colleague. Eileen, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, Jim. Our next speaker is Eric Halterman, who is chair of our Historic Sites Commission.
Okay, Mayor, can you hear me?
Yes.
So I'm Eric Holterman. I'm chair of the Pennington Historic Preservation Commission. I'd like to share a short Eileen Heinzel story. In 2010, I worked with Eileen and Kit Chandler, Tom Ogren, Bill Reuter, and others on a task force investigating whether a historic preservation ordinance would be a good idea. As part of that, we had several public meetings. There were a lot of people who were enthusiastic about a historic preservation ordinance, but predictably, there were a few people who were less enthusiastic. I'd like to say that they were enthusiastically unenthusiastic about the ordinance. At one PAC meeting, there was a fellow in the back row who made a broad statement about everybody thinks this is a bad idea. Just a few seats away from him was another guy who stood up and said, "Don't include me in your everybody." Shortly, a heated, red-faced, loud, and rapidly escalating exchange followed. Now, you know, in this meeting, I expected some pushback, but I absolutely didn't expect an absolute fight. For the record, I've never broken up a fight in my life, and these guys are both pretty big. But here's the Eileen Heinzel part of the story. Eileen Heinzel, sitting in the front row, popped up out of her chair, strode right back to these guys, outstretched her hand and said, "Hello, I'm Eileen Heinzel, and I'm a member of this task force." I don't remember what she said next, but both of those guys shook her hand, sat down, and to this day, I'm just incredibly impressed by her unrelenting bravery in the face of impending mayhem. Accordingly, I'd like to nominate Eileen for the recipient of a medal that perhaps could be called Municipal Bravery on the Council Chamber front lines. In closing, I'd just like to thank Eileen for everything you've done for this town. Thanks, Eileen.
Thank you. Thanks, Eric. Next is Alan Hershey from the Open Space Committee.
Okay, you can hear me, Mr. Mayor, right?
Yes, I can.
You know, local government at the scale of little places like Pennington seems to a lot of people like an idea whose time is past. And it's true that making small, really little local government work or making it even a valued institution is difficult. It works in Pennington. I think it works because our local government is both personal and professional. And nobody embodies that combination better than you, Eileen. My experience interacting with Eileen is mostly about open space issues. And that experience with Eileen as the face of borough government is that on the one hand, it could seem like I was just dealing with a friendly, often funny neighbor, sharing news or working together on some common issue, some problem. But always at the same time, she would maintain a kind of appropriate sense of discreteness, I guess is the better word, and approaching issues that were potentially contentious with a very clear sense of balance and calm and respect, and solving them, going about solving them with obvious competence. So yeah, in Pennington, local government delivers on that promise. Maybe it's an unusually good success in Pennington. And in recent years, a lot of that credit has to go to you, Eileen. You know, a lot of people say, well, you can't fight City Hall. Well, in Pennington, my experience was I didn't have to fight City Hall. I could work with City Hall, Borough Hall. And I could even look forward to going there just to talk to Eileen. Thank you, Eileen. I miss you at Borough Hall.
Thanks, Alan. Our next speaker is Dan Pace, also from the Open Space Committee.
Hi, Eileen.
Dan.
The help you have given me, and thank you for all your contributions to our community, and my best wishes to you and your family.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dan. And our next and I think final speaker tonight is Michelle Needham, former chair of our Parks and Recreation Committee and community volunteer. And she wears a lot of hats, but she's here tonight wearing a hat for you. So.
Oh, there we go. I just found her and then she raised her hand. So wait a second.
Bring her on in.
There we go.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, thanks a lot, Betty, for putting me last. okay, but they always say they save the best for last. So good evening, Mayor. Thank you so much for having me tonight. And Paul and Eileen, wonderful to see you. I am grateful for the time I've overlapped with Eileen over many years. I'm somebody that never erases enough of her emails. So when this was coming up, I kind of went back into mine and I found one that we were both sharing some time at math night at Tollgate, helping our kids and other kids figure out some of the math problems that were going on at a very young age. And Eric and Spencer went through the school system together. So we overlapped in many ways with our children, with various volunteer roles and real estate issues that have come up in town. Parks and Rec, the 125th anniversary, Pennington year, gala, grant opportunities. Eileen even went out of her way with the Hopewell Valley Arts Council when we had the stampede going on to go to Walter Bliss and the Open Space Committee to see if she could find some money so the town could buy an ox and we could put it somewhere in the borough. That did not work out, but as always, Eileen just, put everything into it and did her best job to do something for the Arts Council. Eagle Scout projects in Kunkel Park, borough yard sales, we've overlapped on many of these things. I welcomed when Eileen stepped down from council and became the borough administrator. I had many opportunities to walk into Borough Hall and to walk in and find her in the office. It was always open for conversation. And when I was really lucky, I'd get Eileen, Bill, and Tony in there. And that was the best. They were shooting the breeze and we'd talk about what's going on in town. And so there's just a lot of characters in this town and a lot of wonderful people. And it's very comfortable to walk into Borough Hall. And I've always felt welcome there and that people listen to me, especially Eileen, and appreciate, your thoughts. She's always been very responsive, practical, approachable, and they're a good communicator and a good listener. There's a lot of minutia that goes on in this town. Ricky knows there are bees in the sandbox, there's poison ivy on trees, there's ox that fall over, there's all kinds of phone calls that come in to the main line. So it's, so she's kind of juggling all that with the more important things in the borough. So amazing that you can do all of that. But the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. When I know your mom, Mayor Ann, and your dad, she put a lot of time, dedicated her life to public service, and your dad to military service. So it doesn't surprise me as to the wonderful person that you are. I want to just wrap it up and say thank you for all your years of dedication, hard work, and positivity. Pennington is a better place because of you. And I have a little quote from Mr. Rogers that I thought was kind of good because I look at our little town as sort of a Mr. Rogers type neighborhood. And he said, "The thing I remember best about successful people I've met all through the years is their obvious delight in what they're doing. And it seems to have very little to do with worldly success. They just love what they're doing and they love it in front of others." And I've always seen this in you, Eileen. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, Michelle.
Jim, I'd like to say one thing to Eileen. Eileen, thank you for making Pennington a better place. Just like watching the Waltons to me, tonight. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. Any other members of council?
Yes, I would like to just say, Eileen, you are amazing. And thank you for putting your faith in me and best.
Good. Anyone else? Okay, well, Eileen, you have the floor.
Do I really? Should I make you the host?
No.
Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for your kind words and recognition. It was beyond my expectations. But it's a wonderful town to work in, and I'm glad I gave so much of my time and effort. So thank you all for allowing me to do that. I have had a wonderful life.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Well, Eileen, we are going to proceed with the rest of the meeting, as they say. So thank you. Thank you for taking the time to be with us tonight and giving us an opportunity to say all the kind words that you deserve. Thank you.
We love you.
Thank you, Jim.
We carry on. I think we're gonna have dinner now.
Glenn, stick around. They're still exciting.
The next item on,
No, you're in charge. I've delegated excitement to you.
yeah,
You go.
Oh, thanks.
Take care, everyone.
okay.
Good seeing you.
Yeah, good seeing you too.
The next item on the agenda is a proclamation of the mayor and council recognizing and honoring Beverly Mills. And I'm not sure, I don't think I see her, but I'm going to read it anyway. She deserves it. Whereas Beverly Mills has lived in Pennington her entire life and has been engaged and active member of her church, community, and government, and has contributed her wisdom and common sense to these institutions and made them better from her membership. Whereas Beverly Mills, through her research, writing, activism, has contributed to and improved the community's knowledge, understanding, and appreciation of the history and experiences of all Pennington Borough and Hopewell Township citizens. And whereas Beverly's talent, wit, intelligence, and strong community ties were a great asset to the council and will be sorely missed. Whereas Beverly additionally provided vital assistance and input as a member of the Police and Court Review Committee, the Finance Committee, the Library Board of Trustees, and the Borough's Personnel Committee. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Mayor and Borough Council of the Borough of Pennington, on behalf of its citizens, does hereby recognize Beverly Mills for her dedicated and steadfast service to Pennington Borough government and community as a member of the Pennington Borough Council by order of the Office of Mayor James M. Davey. Thank Beverly Mills for her service to the community. The next is a proclamation by Mayor and Council of Pennington Borough celebrating the 100th anniversary of St. Matthew's Episcopal Church. This proclamation was requested by Weed Tucker, and it reads as follows. Whereas in 1921, a small but enthusiastic group of Episcopalians met in the tea room of the Rose Garden Inn at 410 South Main Street in Pennington. And whereas in 1925, the Right Reverend Paul Matthews commissioned a mission church, and in 1926, William Howe donated a lot at 300 South Main Street, on which a small wooden church was built in honor of Bishop Matthews, as the chapel of St. James Church in Trenton